Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for our 35th race of the season, the first season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. This is the race that's going to set us up for our final four to compete for the championship next week at the season finale of Homestead Miami Speedway. And we are continuing on the round of three, race one of round three. It was the race of adaptation at Boston. Drivers taking to that track for the first time. Last week, maybe not the most exciting Talladega race we had, but it definitely was a race of situation where we end up seeing Jordan Lopez and William Brock in a very spirited battle in the final stages of that event. And now today, here at Rockingham, North Carolina Speedway, whatever you want to call it, we are here for the race of conservation. Rockingham is probably one of the most well-known tire eaters on the circuit, especially the very unique turns 1 and 2, much different from turns 3 and 4. So it's like two different types of sides of the racetrack, kind of very similar to a Darlington, if you will, where you do not have the same uniform kind of 1 and 2 as you do in 3 and 4. So these drivers definitely have to set their cars up maybe only for one portion of the track and then have to fight the car in the other portions. Very difficult to get a setup that is perfect in both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but that's why we have Rockingham here in round 3, because as we said, the cream rises to the top here. The Elite 8 have to whittle it down to the final 4, and the ones that are able to master the tough tracks, they're the ones that are going to be competing for the championship. Front row, Adam Garcia lines up on the pole position, trying to get his first win of the season. Young Motorsports only has one win this year with Mitchell Collins. Kyle Mathews trying to get his second win of the year, our Bristol winner. Line up on the outside of the front row. Let's go down trackside and get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command is given, and so as the pace car will lead the field around, let's take a look at your playoff grid coming into this race. And boy, it is definitely going to be an interesting one here today that we're going to have to follow a lot of storylines. Benny Watson comes in the points leader, 26 points ahead of the cut line. Now, Carter Friesen is the measuring stick for today's race because he is 4th in the points, and that's where drivers want to be, 4th or higher, to be able to make it into the final 4 next week at Homestead. Chris Dollerton 18 points up on Carter, and Dylan Poteet 15 points up on Carter. He is our highest starting playoff contender here today as well. Friesen's the measuring stick, 6 points back. Zach Rogers, Jessica Shelton only 10 points back. They could point their way in. Jesse Turner and Carson Gum, though, I think they might be in must-win situations. Unless Carter Friesen finishes dead last or near the bottom of the standings here today, they might then have a shot to point their way in. Here we go, though. 50 laps of racing, and let's roll at the rock. So if Dylan Poteet can get up there, lead a lap, that'd be another point that he'd have over Carter Friesen. That would put him to plus 16. And he will go for the lead into turn 3 on Adam Garcia. 50 laps, so with the 2019 rules package that we're running here today, these drivers will not be able to make it the full distance on fuel. And Dylan Poteet out here in front. Now, one thing that I noticed, too, that's going to be very interesting is we had our first 3 playoff races of the season won by playoff drivers. We ended up having J Millz, Dylan Poteet, and Jesse Turner all go to victory lane. In the last 5 races, the 3 races in round 2 and the first 2 races here of round 3, non-playoff drivers have gone to victory lane. But it would be really important for a playoff contender to win here today. Not only do they get locked into the Homestead Miami finale, competing for the championship, but also they would have 5 valuable bonus points over their other 3 competitors, and those 5 bonus points could be very, very important. So Dylan Poteet out in front here, you got to think that his thought was to get to the front and stay at the front to try and win this race. Poteet trying to get his 3rd win of the season and his 2nd win during the playoffs. He won back at the last race of round 1 at Indianapolis. Second highest playoff contender right now runs in the 7th position, trying to take 6th from R Acosta, and that's Benny Watson. Benny Watson comes into this race with probably the easiest goal of anybody, and that is he just has to finish in the top 15. If he finishes in the top 15, there is no way that he will drop out of the top 4, and he will head into Homestead Miami in the hunt for the championship title. Good runs at both the first race of this round at Boston, and a pretty decent run. He finished a lap down. I think it was in 20th last week at Talladega, but that was still good enough for him to have a pretty nice points cushion coming into this race. Now he's under fire from J Jefferson. That would be for the 7th position. Next highest running playoff contender, well, actually it's a battle between them. A couple of Ford Mustangs, Jesse Turner in the 47, Chris Dollerton in the 43. Now Jesse Turner suffered back-to-back DNFs. He DNF'd at Boston, he DNF'd last week at Talladega, and so he comes into this race almost in a must-win situation. Like I said, a lot's going to depend on where Carter Friesen finishes this race, but 21 points back, it's almost a must-win situation, or at least go and finish up inside of the top 5 for that 47 team. There you see Carter Friesen. We'll get to him in a moment, as there's Chris Dollerton. Dollerton 18 points in hand over Carter Friesen. Basically what he's got to do is he's got to finish ahead of that 37 here today. He just lost a spot to him right there. But I think that for Dollerton, he needs to finish somewhere up inside of the top 10, maybe even the top 5, to ensure he's going to be in the playoffs, or at least be ahead of drivers like Zach Rogers, Jessica Shelton, Jesse Turner, Carter Friesen, and Carson Gum. Let's jump up to that 37 of Carter Friesen, coming in a very dangerous position, and Chris Dollerton knows what that's like. He was in the danger zone position, I believe it was at the end of round 2, and then he had a great run to advance into round 3. Well, Carter Friesen right now in the 18th position. Friesen, our Daytona 500 winner, started out with the biggest win of the start of the year, trying to end the season with a championship trophy. Right now he is inside the top 20, and he is ahead of drivers like Zach Rogers, Jessica Shelton, and Carson Gum. He's got to basically keep tabs on the 47 of Jesse Turner, although he doesn't really have to worry a whole lot about Turner because they were separated by 21 points coming into this race. So if Friesen can manage to finish, I think, really ahead of Rogers and Shelton, he's got a good chance of making it into the round of 4. Carson Gum, I would say this guy is in a must-win situation, as he has suffered DNF finishes in the first 2 races of this 3rd round. He finished, I believe it was 39th at Boston, and then he finished multiple laps down at Talladega due to what I think was a pit road glitch for the most part. But our Pocono winner was really good in the 2nd round, but really struggling here in the 3rd round, and I think it is a must-win situation for that driver. Now, 2 drivers that are running towards the back that both come in behind the cut line. Jessica Shelton in 38th, Zach Rogers, I believe last time, crossed in 39th. Those 2 cannot afford a bad run here today. Jessica Shelton 10 points behind the cut line coming into this race, and Friesen is running up inside the top 20. And Zach Rogers just dropped back to dead last as Mitchell Collins passed him for the 39th position. And Rogers 6 points behind Carter Friesen. Both of them need to get up there around that 37 and be able to challenge for a spot inside the top 4. And right now it's not looking like that's the case. Maybe they're saving, maybe they're conserving, but they definitely do not have the track position needed to move on to the next round. So right now it is looking like the 4 drivers that came into this race in the final 4 playoff positions, right now they would be the 4 that would move on. Watson, Dollerton, Poteet, and Friesen, unless something drastically changes here in the second half of this race. Dylan Poteet, though, definitely making a clear case for himself to move on to the next round, as he has led, I believe, the last 13, maybe 12, 13 laps of this race after getting around the pole sitter Adam Garcia. And Garcia has not been able to challenge him just yet. Field is definitely split up as well, so you can see the difference between drivers that are pushing it hard and the drivers that are conserving. You got Adam Garcia right now in 2nd. J Millz chasing his 5th overall win on the season. He is in 3rd. Dylan Young currently in 4th. So 2 of your Young Motorsports Fords are up here inside the top 5. Ryan Acosta and Kyle Mathews, they're in 5th and 6th in a battle there. J Jefferson by his lonesome in 7th. Matt McIntire's in 8th. Cole Baker in 9th. And right now, completing your top 10 is Levi McIntire in the 99. Jesse Turner is now working his way up towards the top 10. He is now trying to take, I believe that is 14th place from Seth Cole. Chris Dollerton is up here as well. So currently it looks like the best battle for a playoff position would be between the 47 of Turner and the 37 of Carter Friesen. And the 2 of them were separated by 21 points. You can see Friesen back there. He is only about 7 cars behind the 47. So as long as he can keep himself within about maybe 10, 15 cars behind Jesse Turner, he is continuing to deny Jesse Turner a chance to get into the playoffs. Now, for Carter Friesen, the one thing that he's got to hope for is that somebody like maybe D Poteet, C Dollerton, Benny Watson, that they go to victory lane, and that Turner, Carson Gum, Zach Rogers, and Jessica Shelton do not, because right now, if one of those four were to go to victory lane, then they would be in, and Carter Friesen, who came in the cutoff line driver, he would be out. So right now, with who's up front, Carter Friesen's got to be liking that. The driver he's got to worry about is that 47 of Jesse Turner working his way to the front, because if Turner gets up to the front, that's bad news for Carter. Well, D Poteet got a point for leading a lap. He will more than likely at this point get the bonus point for leading the most laps as well. And D Poteet, let's not forget, his first playoff race win at Indianapolis, that was an elimination race back in round 1. So it seems like he's really good when the pressure's on during the elimination races, which I think would put him in very good stead heading into a race with so much pressure and a championship on the line next week at Homestead, Miami. Adam Garcia right there behind him, though. And Garcia, he wants to go to victory lane in the worst way. He is 35th in the point standings coming to this race. He's only got one career top 5, 8 top 10s. Started on the pole, had a great qualifying effort. And he's trying to get what would only be the second win overall for the team of Young Motorsports. Mitchell Collins' win at Kansas is currently the only win that team has. And he got 2 contenders for Young Motorsports up here inside of the top 4 with Garcia in second and Dylan Young right there in 4th place. Let's drop back just a bit here as D Poteet continues to lead. Trying to find Benny Watson. There he is. He's still in 11th, so Benny Watson currently slotted where he is. He's into the next round. C Dollerton slotted where he is in 13th. He's into the next round. And Carter Friesen just made the pass on Jesse Turner. So that is a very important pass because that keeps Carter Friesen in the top 4 and keeps Jesse Turner out. Let's drop to the back, see if Zach Rogers, Jessica Shelton have made up any ground. They were in 38th and 40th when we last saw them. Zach Rogers still in 39th. He got around Mitchell Collins, and Shelton still continues to run in the 38th position. So both of them really in trouble to not make it into the next round. Compete for the championship. I noticed as well the 2 drivers that competed for the win last week at Talladega, the eventual winner Jordan Lopez, he's back here in 35th, and the driver he was battling, William Brock's back here in 32nd. So obviously not having the performance here today that they had back at Talladega, as battle for the lead possibly. Adam Garcia jumping up to the top side on D Poteet. Ooh, little contact there. Oh, can Garcia get the outside run off the corner? Looks like he's doing a pretty good job of it. And nope, Poteet's going to clear him. But boy, that was interesting. Everybody's been kind of migrated to the bottom, down on that yellow line. And Adam Garcia says, all right, I'll see what the top side could do. And he almost made it work. He's going to try it again down here in turn 1. Let's see if we got a second groove here at Rockingham. And Garcia was not quite to the right rear quarter panel to make the move that time. You know, one thing I didn't think that we could possibly have come into play here at Rockingham, but it could very well be a factor, is traffic for the race leaders, because Mitchell Collins is hitting the line right now. D Poteet is just coming out of turn 4. So here at the halfway point, we have managed to stay green, and it could come down to where they encounter drivers on the tail end of the lead lap. And of course, we've also got that pit stop on the horizon. Great run there for K Mathews in that 09. Made it into the playoffs, but got eliminated in the first round. Right now, he's the only one of the Retro Racing Enterprises Chevrolets that's having a decent outing here today. Charles Sandfer back around the 32nd position, and Jessica Shelton right now in 38th. Adam Garcia trying everything he can. He's trying different lines through every corner. I saw him go way low in 1 and 2 at one point. He's tried the high side in 3 and 4. Ooh, good run there on the front straightaway. Where will he take that momentum? He's going to try up high again. This time it might work if he can get to the right rear of Poteet. Oh, he is definitely there, but can he keep the momentum is the question. Oh, got a little tight there in the center of the corner, and he's going to lose that momentum. That opens up the door down low for J Millz to challenge for second. So all that experimentation in the end looks like it may cost Adam Garcia a second place, maybe third, as Dylan Young's lined up on that inside line, and that's allowing Dylan Poteet for the moment to be able to scamper away and open up some daylight for the race lead, and they'll keep this battle side by side into turns 1 and 2. Inside line looks like it's going to prevail on the back straightaway, though, so Millz will clear for second place. And now sets his sights on Dylan Poteet as Dylan Young will move into third place. Well, since we are past the halfway point, we do know that when these drivers do make their pit stop, they will only have to come to pit road once. We know they can make it at least 30 laps, and this time around at the line, there will be 20 laps to go. That battle for second brought K Mathews into the conversation. J Jefferson just made a pass. He just moved to 6th, bypassing R Acosta, so Acosta will fall back to 7th. And good runs for some drivers back here that have been struggling the last couple of weeks. M McIntire there in the 8th position, Cole Baker in 9th. Matt comes into this race currently dead last in points, and Cole Baker, one spot ahead of him, 39th in points. So good runs for both of these drivers here today at Rockingham. And right now completing your top 10 is Benny Watson as he's fighting for that spot with Levi McIntire. Poteet's leading the race. Watson's in 11th. Dollerton is in 13th, and Carter Friesen is in 15th. So right there, your drivers in the top 15 for your playoff contenders. They are the ones right now who would be in position to move on to the Final Four at Homestead Miami Speedway. And currently, as things stand right now, I believe only 2 of them are lined up to return next season. Neither Dylan Poteet nor Chris Dollerton have re-signed with returning to the Duracell Cup Series. Mitchell Collins up ahead there of the 31. This will be interesting because Mitchell Collins is a teammate to both Dylan Young and Adam Garcia, who are running in 2nd and now 5th. So will the 22 hold up Dylan Poteet? Poteet's going to have to go around the outside of Mitchell Collins. If Collins can keep to the bottom, that might allow the rest of these guys to close up. And no, Poteet's got a strong car even on the top side. And he's going to easily put Mitchell Collins down a lap. Now we'll see if Mitchell Collins gets out of the way for Dylan Young, who's going to try and run down Dylan Poteet and make it a Dylan and Dylan show here at Rockingham. Although K Mathews, who just moved to 3rd, he may have one of the fastest cars on track here in the long run. And he is right there in the conversation as well. Dylan Young going to jump to the outside of his teammate. So Mitchell Collins running the bottom, letting the leaders have the outside line. And, K Mathews down on the inside, going to get boxed in behind the 22. Dylan Young actually not as easily getting around his teammate either. Looks like he'll get him cleared now. And still K Mathews trapped behind the 22. And now he's going to get boxed in even more as Adam Garcia jumps up to the top side. Unless Kyle can move Collins out of the way. Ooh, boy. K Mathews not going to be happy with Mitchell Collins, that's for sure. Not only losing him a position on track, maybe a couple of positions on track, but also losing him valuable track position. So now Dylan Young free of traffic. Now he'll try and run down Dylan Poteet. And of course the question, when does the pit stop take place? We know they can't make it 50 laps. And we also know the tire wear has got to be kicking in for these drivers. I think they'd be more likely coming to pit road wanting tires than they would be wanting fuel at this point in time. 37 laps into the run. Waiting to see if Dylan Poteet makes the dive for pit road. Oh, he might do it this time. Oh no, Zach Rogers coming to pit road. So he's going to start the pit stops, even though he's on the tail of the lead lap. Adam Garcia and J Millz are in here on this lap. J Jefferson pitted a lap earlier, as did Carter Friesen. So expect to see our race leader Dylan Poteet on pit lane pretty soon. Looks like Dylan Young maybe coming to pit road this time. What about the race leader Poteet? Is he going to hit pit lane? And yes, he is. Here comes Dylan Young. K Mathews is in. R Acosta. Is anybody from our top contenders going to roll the dice, stay out an extra lap? McIntire, Baker's coming in. Watson, Seth Cole. There's a gambler. Jack Mitchell from the 13th position stays out an extra lap. Why not? See if he can gain some track position, maybe come down a cleaner pit road. There you see the difference between new and old tires. J Jefferson, who was just on pit road, just ran down Jack Mitchell in the center of the corner, and he's trying to pass him. He's going to pass him as Mitchell was trying to get to pit lane. That was a terrible spot to have a car to your inside as Mitchell was trying to get to pit road. So we'll see where that 5 car, let's follow the 5 of J Jefferson. 38th last time by, jumped up to 23rd. Remember, he was up inside the top 10. And he was one of the first ones to hit pit lane. He's going to get around K Mathews. He looks like he's going to pass R Acosta. So he might cycle around to around maybe the 4th or 5th position after this. Oh, looks like Carson Gum stayed out an extra lap. He's on pit road now. There's a battle between Dylan Young and Adam Garcia. Is this for second? Looks like it might be, as J Poteet, I believe, just left pit road. And he's going to have some traffic to deal with here not too long. And it looks like he will hit the line with 10 laps to go. I believe he is the race leader. I think he and Carson Gum came down pit road the same lap, but Carson Gum's pit stall was before the start-finish line. And yes, Poteet is the race leader now. Adam Garcia will slot to second. Dylan Young into third. Garcia about 2 seconds back from J Poteet. J Jefferson will cycle into fourth. R Acosta is fifth. 6th is J Millz, K Mathews 7th, 8th M McIntire, 9th is Cole Baker, and Carter Friesen is now up into the top 10 in 10th place. Chris Dollerton there in 11th. 12th is Levi McIntire, 13th Seth Cole, 14th J Gardner, 15th Jack Mitchell, 16th place is Michael Norman, and right now 17th would be Benny Watson. Completion of your top 20 are Julius Anderson, Benjamin Miles, and James Qualls. So the 4 that were in contention for getting into the Final 4 before the pit stops right now sit in contention for the Final 4 after the pit stops. Watson, Dollerton, Poteet, and Friesen. And we mentioned the fact that if one of our playoff contenders win, they carry 5 extra bonus points into the season finale. Right now, J Poteet in line to do just that if he is able to close out the win here today. He's got a box right in front of him there, M Haas and V Almariego. These drivers are battling for position with each other. Poteet's trying to get some distance between himself and the 12 of Garcia. Let's see if the traffic comes into play into the interval between the 31 and the 12, and only gaining 2/10, a little less than 2/10 was Garcia that lap. And look at all this traffic he's going to have to deal with. Whoa, J Jefferson! I think he just bypassed them both. Maybe he's the guy you gotta watch for to run down Poteet, depending on if he's able to get up there in 6 laps. He's gonna have to pass 4 race cars before he gets to Poteet, and there's 6 laps to go here at Rockingham. J Poteet trying to join Jordan Lopez and William Brock as 3-time winners this season. Jefferson got around Wyatt Quail. He's trying to pass Charles Sandfer to make it only 2 cars between himself and Poteet, but time is not on his side. If V Almariego, it looks like he's just about as fast as the 31 of Poteet, can make a pass here and put Poteet to the outside, that could certainly help J Jefferson out. Looks like he's going to lose some ground on the 31 though this time. And look at this, Jefferson got around Sandfer. He's now going to pass M Haas. Don't look now, that 5 car might have something for Poteet. He is making these corners really, really good, and he is closing the gap visibly between himself and J Poteet. But can he do it in 4 laps? He'll have to pass V Almariego, but I think he's got a faster car. 26.299 for Poteet, 25.969 for J Jefferson, and here he comes. Gonna try and make the pass here on V Almariego. Poteet's having some difficulty with traffic ahead. That's R Brommer and Jessica Shelton. I think Jefferson might have him. Can he pass V Almariego here? He's got to pass the 42 right now. Oh, he can't quite get to the inside. He's literally shoving V Almariego into the corner. Poteet goes down to the inside here, trying to get to R Brommer. Here's Jefferson. Can he get to the inside of V Almariego? Yes, he can. Don't look now. We've got a battle for the win with 2 laps to go. Poteet and Jefferson. Now, Poteet will make it to the Final 4 even if he finishes in second, but Jefferson wants to get his first win of the season, and he also wants to get Unknown Motorsports their 3rd win overall, as J Yepez is the only winner for the team. Can Jefferson get to the inside here going into turn 3? He opened the door. Look at this. J Millz is up in the mix now as well in the 98. Where did he come from? He's going to take second from Jefferson. White flag in the air. 3 cars to battle it out. Poteet, Millz, Jefferson. Millz to the inside of Poteet for the lead into turn 1. Jefferson goes way up on the top side. Jefferson with a huge run. But can he clear Poteet and make a move here on J Millz? Millz trying to get by R Brommer in the 9. He's trapped on the bottom. Jefferson goes to the outside. Jefferson makes the move out of 4. It's going to be a drag race. Photo finish. No, it's Jefferson. Outside line gets him the win at Rockingham. What a pass on the final lap. How about that? Using the 9 of R Brommer as a pick. He channeled the outside line, made the pass, and gets the win here today at North Carolina. That was amazing! What a battle at the end! I mean, where the heck, first off, did J Millz come from? How did J Jefferson run Dylan Poteet down when nobody else seemed to be able to? And that move in 3 and 4, he went to the outside line on Dylan Poteet for second, and then he trapped J Millz on the bottom and swung around the outside line to get the win, coming to the start-finish line. That was maybe one of the most exciting finishes of the season. J Jefferson gets the victory. It's the first of his Duracell Cup Series career. A driver that came into this race 36th in points, denied a driver from becoming a 5-time winner, denied a driver from carrying 5 bonus points into the final round of the playoffs. And it is the 3rd win for Unknown Motorsports and first for the 5 team. That was an unbelievable race. Wow. So Jefferson will pick up the victory. J Millz will bring it home in second. Poteet will move on to battle for the championship next week at Homestead, Miami, but he will not carry a 5-point advantage over the rest of his competition. They will all be tied heading into next week's race. Young Motorsports, good performance for 2 of their cars. Dylan Young 4th, Adam Garcia 5th. K Mathews brings it home 6th, R Acosta 7th. Benjamin Miles came alive late as he'll finish up in the top 10 and 8th. C Dollerton, he will move on to battle for the championship at Homestead next week with a 9th place run, and M McIntire brings it home in 10th. The other 2 drivers that will compete for the championship both finished inside of the top 20. Carter Friesen was in the danger zone spot, but he finished ahead of Rogers, Shelton, Turner, and Gum, so he will move on to the round of 4, our Daytona 500 winner, and Benny Watson came in with that cushion of 26 points between himself and Friesen, as well as the rest of the drivers behind Friesen. A 19th place run will move him on to the round of 4 as well. So Watson, Dollerton, Poteet, and Friesen will be your drivers that will compete for the championship next week at Homestead, Miami. Rest of your playoff contenders that now will be eliminated from the playoffs finished in Jesse Turner 22nd, Carson Gum back in 30th, Zach Rogers in 33rd, and Jessica Shelton, last car on the lead lap, in 34th. All 40 cars finished the race, 34 of them on the lead lap. We had that green flag pit stop in the middle, and boy, oh boy, did it really prove who had the long run and the short run cars, as J Jefferson picks up the victory here today at Rockingham. Next week, folks, it's the Homestead Miami Speedway playing host to the season finale to determine a champion. Will it be Benny Watson, C Dollerton, Dylan Poteet, or Carter Friesen? You're just going to have to tune in and find out. But until then, thank you all for tuning in to today's race. If you enjoyed it, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown your full finish results, and these are your point standings, your playoff points, and your reformatted playoff points. It's all going to come down to who finishes the best next week at Homestead Miami Speedway as to who's going to take the first season Duracell Cup Series Championship here on the NNSCRA Sports Channel. Till then, you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. We'll see you guys next week at Homestead.